to. We're going to start Joshua chapter 2, starting in verse 1. Then Joshua, son of Nun, sent 2 men secretly from Shittim as spies, saying, "Go, view the land, especially Jericho." So they went and entered the house of a prostitute whose name was Rahab. He spent the night there. The king of Jericho was told, "Some Israelites have come here tonight to search out the land." Then the king of Jericho sent orders to Rahab, "Bring out the men who have come to you, who entered your house, for they have come only to search out the whole land." But the woman took the 2 men, and she hid them. Then she said, "True, the men came to me, but I didn't know where they came from. And when it was time to close the gate at dark, the men went out. Where the men went, I don't know. Pursue them quickly, for you can overtake them." She had, however, brought them up to the roof and hidden them with the stalks of flax that she had laid out on the roof. So the men pursued them on their way to the Jordan, as far as the fords. And as soon as the pursuers had gone out, the gate was shut. Before they went to sleep, she came up to them on the roof and said to the men, "I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that dread of you has fallen on us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt in fear before you, for we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites that were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. As soon as we heard it, our hearts failed, and there was no courage left in any of us because of you. The Lord your God is indeed God in heaven above and on earth below. Now then, since I have dealt kindly with you, swear to me by the Lord that you in turn will deal kindly with my family. Give me a sign of good faith that you will spare my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and deliver our lives from death." The men said to her, "Our life for yours. If you do not tell this business of ours, then we will live kindly and faithfully with you when the Lord gives us the land." Then she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was on the outer side of the city wall, and she resided within the wall itself. She said to them, "Go towards the hill country." This is the Jericho hill country, not the Texas hill country. "So that the pursuers may not come upon you. Hide yourselves there for 3 days until the pursuers have returned, and then afterwards..." See, this is the problem of trying to read out the sheet. Then afterwards, you may go on your way. There we go. The men said to her, "We will be released from this oath that you have made us swear to you. If we invade the land, and you do not tie this crimson cord in the window through which you let us down, and you do not gather into your house your father, your mother, your brothers, and all your family. If any of you go out the doors of your house onto the street, they shall be responsible for their own death, and we shall be innocent. But if a hand is laid upon any of you while you're in the house, we shall bear the responsibility for your death. If you tell of this business of ours, then we shall be released from this oath that you made us swear to you." And she said, "According to your words, so be it." She sent them away and departed, and then she tied the crimson cord in the window. This too is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
All right. Fool girl, Rahab. Very sneaky. And it just, Tiffany and I have been watching Survivor. It's just, kind of our end of the night, things done to bed, turn off your brain activity. And there's always people in Survivor, they're like trying to make up a story, like, oh yeah, you gotta get the idol from the, and they're always such terrible liars, but Rahab's lies are really quite good. Right? Oh yeah, I'm mixing in bits of the truth and bits of falsehood, and really you should go chase them now because we're so cool and strong, yeah. So she's a spy. She's also a sex worker, which complicates this narrative enormously. I mean, when we talk about women in the Bible, it's hard to talk about right now. You can't use this for a Mother's Day sermon. Be like, Mom, you've really been a Rahab in my life. It just doesn't work. You can't. But here she is, and it is to the point that when the author of the Hebrews, we're not sure who wrote Hebrews, by the way. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Paul. So, someone else. My favorite theory is that it might have been Apollos. Anyway, the author of the Hebrews, when he's listing people who are examples to us of faith, of how it is that we should have faith, he mentions Rahab on the list along with Abraham and Moses. Yeah, and Rahab. And my question is, why? I mean, what is so faithful about Rahab? I mean, she's cool. I get coolness. I get the adventure story. I get the compelling. You can think of 2 weeks ago. Like, this is interesting. We've got espionage. Spies sneaking out at night in the flax and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, right? But I mean, Rahab, I usually associate faith with loyalty, don't you? Someone who has faith is loyal. But Rahab's faith is a disloyalty to Jericho. She has loyalty to the house of Israel. She has loyalty to the Hebrew people. And a strange loyalty, too. I mean, her name, you heard in the song, you've crushed Rahab like a corpse. Now that Rahab isn't this Rahab. That is, so you know how, nowadays we name people things, and it's like, yeah, this is my daughter Chastity, or this is my daughter Hope. Rahab meant Egypt. It literally means Egypt. So it's Egypt that was crushed, and here's this person named Egypt. I went to high school with someone named Asia. Anyway, here's this person who's like, she's this representative. She's been named, her family, her parents, when they wanted to name the child something powerful, called her Rahab. And yet Rahab says, I am familiar, Hebrews, with your exploits. I know about the Red Sea. I know that you set foot in it and the waters parted. I mean, she's practically a Torah scholar. She has more knowledge of the events of the book of Exodus than a lot of us in this room probably would. If you wanted to bring to mind exactly how it happened with the escape from Egypt and the Pharaoh. And she starts talking about it, and she says, I'm with that. I'm down with that sickness. And there's another thing, too. She's loyal to the Hebrew people and also the Crimson Cord. Did you notice this Crimson Cord? I think this Crimson Cord is very interesting. So she lowers the people down. The spies, the 2 spies that come to spy on him. She lowers them down via this rope. It's whatever rope she has. And then they, as they're talking to her, before they go down, they say, okay, this is the rope that's going to be the sign of the promise. And they're the ones that mention it's crimson, it's red. And they make a blood oath on the blood red cord. They say, listen, if you stand by this cord, then our blood be upon our heads, if any harm should come to you. And if you don't, then you'll die with the rest of your city. And so it's this road that represents salvation through blood. The robe is a type of Christ. Remember when we talked about types of Christ? The robe acts like Jesus. Because it's the means by which we escape from death. And it is the means by which, if we stand by it, we are marked as safe when our city falls. And our city is going to fall. And Rahab is loyal to this robe. She says, yeah, I'm gonna stick by the robe. I'm gonna stick by the Hebrews. And the reason I'm gonna stick by the Hebrews, she says, is because a new city is coming. A new Jericho is coming. A new land of Canaan is coming. You heard the author of Hebrews talk about that. All those who longed for a new city, for a different kind of life, for a different kind of world. She says, I know what used to happen. I know the stories about God. I know the miracles that God has done. And because of the past, I will stand firm in the present because I hope for the future. Rahab is faithless to general sexual morals. She's faithless to the people who knock on her door and ask where she is hidden, the captives. She's faithless to her city and her people and her name. And she is faithful to God and the text, the Hebrew people, the crimson cord, and especially, I might argue, to the future. She is a person who is ready to sacrifice what she's known. She's ready to let go of the past. And for the sake of her family, her brothers and sisters, and mother and father, she said, I know that what has been, the life that we have had, it's going away. You can't step into the same river twice. But there's this red cord that connects me to something new that's coming. To a new kingdom, to a new people, to God's people. And because of that, I'm not going to be so addicted to what's currently going on or what has gone on, to the life that I used to have, that I'm not going to be ready to welcome the new spouse, the new world, the new thing that's coming, that God is bringing into the land. And that's an amazing kind of faith to have. That's an amazing thing to practice. Rahab was ready to say, come on, Israel. Yeah, I'm with you. And Israel welcomed her. She joined. In fact, I won't preach on it. I've already gone too long. But open up to Matthew chapter 1. You'll find Rahab in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. She became connected to the whole bloodline of the Messiah, integrated into the people. So be like Rahab.